actionable. You get some great connections that when you need help, you can feel comfortable reaching out. So, you know, I've known Tony actually through the Gap Talks and through being an award-winning author. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at his resume, it's really impressive. He's someone who's sold over 1 million copies globally. He's spoken on stages such as TEDx, the United Nations, the London Book Fair, Business Book Awards, and now Book King. Tony Selimi has made it his mission to show authors how to transform a book into a $1 million business catalyst. You know, over the past 10 years, Selimi's clients include authors, coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs, and have collectively generated over $1 billion in revenue, thanks to the systems and strategies and personal breakthroughs he and his clients create. So without further ado, Tony Selimi.
Welcome. So first of all, I would like you to all stand up for a second. And who in here truly wants their book make a global impact? Raise your hands. Are we all authors in this room? Hands up. If somebody is not, I truly hope that collectively will inspire you to change one decision that could change your life. Now, before you sit down, I would like you to look around you. Look at each other, please. So you are not looking only at the authors. You are looking at change makers. You are looking at people who take their words into books, into a movement. So if that movement may feel very small at the moment, I truly hope that together today we can raise that vibration, raise that energy, share some insights, some Q&As, and really lift you up. So together we can climb greater heights. So welcome. So moments like this do not happen in this moment. This conference did not happen right now. It happened somebody like Ted, Ozak, and the team behind, spending silent moments planning, reaching out, hustling to get people into this room. So nobody sees the sweat, the hours, the expectations you put on yourself to create something that other people can enjoy. So let's have a big applause for Ted and the team. So let me ask you something very important. If your book vanished tomorrow, would your impact disappear with it? So I want some hands in here, some answers, please. Let's start here. Yes?
I definitely would, if people know what's there.
Absolutely. On this side, please. Okay, and here, the Swedish team over there. Let's hear from the Swedish team. Okay. So, this is something that when I started my author journey, I asked the same question I'm asking you today. And it really, if you listen to the answers with consciousness attached to it, you will definitely listen to a different answer about yourself. So, because in every moment, every real shift that happened in your life is with you, with your clarity, with your conviction to stand behind your voice. So whether it's a children's book, whether it's a fiction, non-fiction, or any other genre, it's your voice written in words that other people want to listen to. But the problem is, who in here want more visibility in their books? Raise your hands, please. I guess I'm in the right room. And visibility is something that needs a system, needs a strategy, needs planning, needs investment, both in time, energy, and money. If you truly believe in your heart that your book is worthy of a global impact, and if it is, please raise your hands. Raise your hands, because you did not write the book to sit on the shelf. It didn't happen. At least it didn't happen for me. So, the problem is, has your voice been truly heard? And how do you get your voice, your book, your intention behind the book be heard globally? Please write this question, because I want you to really pay attention and answer it in your own time. How does my voice is being heard at the moment? Not from your perspective, from your reader's perspective. So you will see that the global challenges author face, I'll walk you through some of that. Most of you probably know them intuitively and you have come across. The next one will look at the author pitfalls that I've seen over a decade now, that my clients and other authors, conferences I've spoken, done books signing, they consistently make. And they tell themselves, I know this, but there's no shift, there's no change in behavior and in action. Then we go at the story that really been living in the shadows. And how did I make this one individual go from the shadows to globally known and become an expert in the industry? Because your book, no matter what genre it is, there's a powerful teaching behind that. And how do you monetize that? And why knowing your voice gives you a message that you can turn that into authority, into influence, into credibility, into people want to read your book, people want to do business with you. And then also going to the essential mindset shifts into how to build your visibility around your book. Then we go, how one client that I shared earlier, he went from feeling totally insecure with no platform to now coming with me in healthcare conferences around the world and making an impact. And then the 12-step growth accelerator method, which I wrote about in more detail in Client Greater Heights, that I've used for 15 years professionally in my business and my clients' businesses to generate the results that Ted shared. But not only that, I wasn't even aware that I did that in my tech world. I just didn't think, because most of us, we do work without truly valuing what our work does in companies we work. Yes or no? Who truly has experienced that when you know you do incredible work, but you're not paid the work? Raise your hands. Well, I want to.
That never happens.
Yes. So I hope to really inspire you to change that. And then the four domains of the future AI-ready author. So raise your hand, how many of you already use AI? Hey, most of you do. Well, I mean, in some form of use of AI. We'll go in more details around that. Now, I really hope to inspire you how to transition from just being an author to actually being an authority, to be an industry leader. So if you want your book to be read by many people, this must happen in your business. Otherwise, you are not serious about building a business around your book. The second, how to align purpose with scalable, profitable business models that exist and that I've been teaching consistently. My clients have generated the same results as I have done. And then how to build credibility that opens doors globally. How many of you would like to be on Oprah? Okay, many of you. Well, first and foremost, you start with writing that book. If you don't have a book, you're not going to open the doors. So, and how to future-proof your message in the age of AI. Because there are so many concerns, not only in the author industry, in every industry I operate. And how to transform your story into a movement and a legacy that outlives you. If the book is in the shelf and it's not being read, that's not a legacy. That's you being lazy. So, writing a book is an achievement, but truly building a movement, that is what I call legacy. And What do you want your book to achieve? Please take a moment, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, write down one sentence, quickly. What do you want your book to achieve? You are here in author conference, and here you came with a certain intention. Yes? No? Yes, okay. So let's hear some voices in here, please. We'll start on this table over there. Mark, what do you want your book to achieve, or your future book?
Current book, change the lives of people facing a physical trauma.
Okay, a very clear message. Change the lives of people facing physical trauma. Let's hear from the table over there.
A blockbuster movie.
A blockbuster, amazing. That's why I call ambition, intention very clear. Because have you written fiction?
Historical fiction.
Historical fiction. So clearly in the fiction, the market is open for you. If you know how to pitch and how to transition that book in a way that the producer can say yes to you. And let's hear from you, ladies.
How to increase joy in people's lives.
Incredible joy. Who does not want joy? I've never met any person on the planet, and I've met a lot of people who does not want that. So, because the world you have publishing now has totally changed from the world some of the authors did before the invention of AI, before technology, before social media, before the 2000.boom. And how do we align our identity into this new world of publishing, where, like it or not, are merging? And the question I would like you to ask yourself, also for you to answer, is what makes me unique in a world where AI and humanoids can do what I do million times faster? Please write that down, because the answer might surprise you, and sometimes you will struggle to get an answer. But do not stop there. Push yourself to get some uniqueness out of you, that in this new world that is being building currently, how can you solve the problems in the future in the now? And that's a very interesting process to go through. So, what is the crisis that we all face in today's world of so much noise, and also in the world of publishing, that few talk about it, but they really do not pay attention the impact it has in each one of us as authors. So roughly, we have about 2.2 million books are being published. Most are drowned, not because they lack quality or value, but because the system rewards people who have engagement, who have strategy. So that's how the publishing works, not only as a traditional publisher, hybrid publisher, or a self-published author. So if you want to beat those algorithms, this must be at the forefront of your agenda. So which is harder for you now? Is it writing, or is it being seen? Being seen. That was my challenge, because working in tech, I wasn't at the forefront of the company's success. I was in the background doing all the hard work in tech, both front end and back end, so the company can succeed. So nobody spoke about people who do the hard work. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah? And then let's make it undeniable with what the current numbers in the publishing industry talk about it. So, as I mentioned, books published annually, 2.2, and the number is rising. And with AI, I believe in 1 year that will be doubled very easily. 96 to 90% sell fewer than 1,000 copies. That's shocking numbers, by the way. And I wanted to solve that problem for all of my clients. And usually, around when we want visibility, when we want strategy, when we want planning, and we're putting all of our 100% commitment to make your work count in the world, you can beat statistics. And I have done it. And majority of the authors actually receive around $1,000 from their royalties. And 1 to 5% of authors around the world truly build movements around their work. So, the book is not a salary. Let that sit for a second. If it was, we would all be very rich in here. And in every conference I have spoken. So the authors who truly win are authors who are strategists. And it is so important to have a very clear strategy around your book and around your business, around your service, around the product cycles you want to create, which I'll be talking about later on. And so what really goes wrong for most authors? What is really that's stopping us? Let's hear from this table. One thing, what really stops you?
I wear out.
You wear out, so it's energy, it's
Energy.
age, energy, things like that, timing, people around you.
Yeah,
Yeah?
there's not enough.
Technology
hours in
issues.
a day to do everything I want to do.
Okay, so not enough time to do everything in the day.
Busy lifestyle.
Busy lifestyle, so demands of day-to-day life. Let's hear from this table.
Not knowing the system.
Not knowing the system, perfect.
Yeah, right, system.
System.
Money.
Money, of course, investment. Nothing works without money. So if you're not gonna raise your service, you're not gonna raise your wealth. Please write that down. If I want to raise my wealth, I must find a way to raise my service. People who have most value in society are the people who are paid the most. So, here's what quietly kills authors and authors' momentum. So, I put down 8. There are many of them. Some of them you may have come across with yourself, silently acknowledging. Writing for validation, not transformation. There's a very fine line between writing to validate yourself to writing to transform the person you are writing for. 2, treating the book as one-time transaction rather than a scalable asset. Just let it sit around. Just the word, scalable asset. Please write it down around your strategy. What is my strategy around scaling my asset, which is my book? Then neglecting personal brand and unclear life philosophy. When sometimes I have clients who come to me, because one thing I do, I put a zoom in every area in their life. Their brain, their emotions, their relationships, their business, their book, and the ecosystem. And one thing is consistency in that. There's no consistent branding behind that. Some of them have outdated websites, some of them don't use social media, some of them they never post it, other people never engage with other people, yet you want to sell more books. I guess you can see the problem in that. Then going it alone. Now, yes, you can do some things alone, but it is overwhelming. And you will never create a movement being alone. Here, we are together. We have movement of award-winning authors. And then hiding authenticity and prioritizing people-pleasing. I've seen this consistently, whether you please the person you love in your relationship, whether it's your kids, whether it's your boss, whether it's your friend, whether it's a TV or media engagement, whatever it might be. There's an element that we desire to please other people. And then falling to build a consistent audience engagement strategy. So people will not buy your book if there's no engagement. And probably you know that in your own author journey. Some of you may be doing some of the things I'm doing. Most of you probably are overwhelmed, you don't have the time, maybe you don't have the budget. But we have to learn to move away from excuses. So when I didn't have money, I worked 5 jobs. So I told myself, I never told myself I don't have money. Or I shared with some of you in here when we use the word, I can't afford this. And I did a little exercise where basically how we're programming ourselves for low self-worth. When we truly desire something, we will find the way to generate the income to support that action. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Then we go into fear of visibility, and lack of self-permission. Now, working behind the scenes, I never thought I'd be coming into this stage and speak publicly, let alone opening the TEDx conference with my talk. That was a journey on its own to address every fear, every insecurity of public speaking. In which journey I invested time, energy, and money to learn how I truly can speak to people in a way that the message lands and they can hear it. There's a difference when you hear speakers. Some of them bore you to death, and hopefully I'm not doing that, and others truly awaken you. And you walk away and you go like, I want to do all of this because I'm worthy. Please say that.
I'm worthy of all of this because I am worthy.
I'm worthy. And then ignoring the human-AI synergy. Now, AI is getting faster and better every single day. We saw, for instance, from Michael, some people are using it to create some incredible products that can support your author journey. So if you haven't signed up, I'm definitely gonna get some trailers already that spoke to him. Why? Because you have to have multiple strategies to see what works, what doesn't work. So, if any of this stink, that's good. We are in the right room. And awareness is truly the beginning of scale. Because when we ignore those things, we keep meeting year after year, and I see people still giving me the same excuses. Which means you don't have your heart behind of the work you want to create. So, I want you to now, a quick exercise around you, which from 1 to 8 truly stinks with you, from what I've shared. Just turn to each other. Pick a number. We'll go back to the slides, okay? So that tells me the memory is working. So, let's start with people haven't discussed yet. 4. Okay, 4. Okay. Let's hear from this table over there. 5 for you? Any more over there? 1? 5 and 1? The rest of you over there?
I like 6.
You know them all? Huh? 6.
6.
Okay, this table here? 6 as well? You guys? 8? Okay, any more in here? Over there, please. Camila, go for it.
Oh, we're just talking about treating it as a scalable asset.
Scalable asset, okay? And the table over there? 4. Can you see that in reality, if you really be honest with yourself and you go through this process, you will see elements of each one of them in you at a different scale. Some you may be more advanced in one or less advanced, and in the other one you really go like, okay, I have to do a lot of work. So what's my story? I wasn't born with a platform. I built it. I never knew that the hardships, the adversity I had to come and overcome one day will support me to be on this stage inspire people. Because all the platforms, tech platforms that I built were for others. And I was the person in the background in the server room, sometimes sleeping overnight. And for some of you who know tech in the 90s and in 2000, especially people who worked in Exchange, the mail server, when the database would get corrupted, I would have to sleep there because every time it stops, you have to restart it. And that could go for 24 hours sometimes. And here's the art that I put together into 5 steps what really changed. I mean, it's like books and films and documentaries for that, but I'm trying to squeeze all of that to inspire you. No matter where you are in your journey, you can build that art. So, firstly, raising hypotheses. I went from unknown to globally known. I went from homeless to multi-property owner. I went from no books to 5 books. So the life adversity, I went through abuse. I went through physical illness that left me almost like lifeless. I experienced bullying. Then, on top of that, the civil war fell upon us in former Yugoslavia. And I was taken from school into fighting a war that deep down I despised. So I was totally broken, and then came to a new country after my life being saved in Britain. And then they did not make my life easy. They made it even more hell than being in the war zone. And I faced a lot of identity crisis. You just lose yourself through so many adversities when you feel you have no hope. Anyone been through those circumstances? I know Mark has. Okay? So most of us have gone through those things. Secondly, I did not stop and give myself excuses. I did not wait for Britain to say, okay, I'll pay for your education. I found 5 jobs for 10 years and worked every single day, full-time, and I studied full-time. And eventually I graduated from one of the top engineering universities with dual degree in engineering and organizational behavior and psychology. So in reality, we have the capacity to truly change our life no matter where our circumstances lead us. Then 3, technology success. That came with a lot of challenges, with a lot of work, an average 12 to 14 hours work, and being paid at the beginning very low salary. And it took me a decade to build the salary that I thought I was worthy of. And then the 4th part is crossing the threshold. How many of you are currently working and want to transition into entrepreneurship? Okay, a few of you in the room. So this is the really biggest fears that we have, because we are in the known territory, or in the coaching industry we call it as familiar zone. But unfortunately I call it comfort zone, where we don't, for whatever reason we tell ourselves we don't want to go to the next level. Because we know how to manage everything, we know how to control everything, we know, whatever happens, I can manage this. And then number 5 is the authority impact around the world. So deliberately shifting from working full-time for others to building everything I needed to build a global business. So you may wonder what all of this created. What are the outcomes? So the outcomes are, I joined another program, a mini MBA, to try to get clarity. I went into so many workshops and seminars. I did not stop. In every place I went, I learned something. And it's so easy to tell ourselves, oh, I didn't get any value out of it. But if we pay attention, for instance, just in this conference, if you made a list at the end of the day, how many conversations you had, how many people you've met, how many nuggets of wisdom you left, you can actually write a book. So you can turn that into asset. So far I published 7 bestsellers, and globally, they've been Amazon #1 for some of them 3 times, 5 times a year. And also, they have almost 120 awards now for these centers. Now, being at the awards, that's why we're here. It's an incredible tool to build your profile, which I'll be talking about later on. And all of these awards, the next thing is, the little me, the honest me, ended up in feature documentaries that won over 37 global awards. So this ended up as a partnership between my clients who hired me to transform their business, and then I realized that the problem wasn't the business, it was the relationship. And after we sorted everything else, they came to me saying, okay, this magic and your work needs to be heard globally. And then I'm like, we want to share our story authentically. No editing, nothing. So that's how my illusion was created. And when we put it out, we had no idea. First and foremost, there was a lot of fears that my client's wife resisted at the beginning. But then, when she started receiving all these incredible awards, people talking in every award she attended with me to her about courageous as a woman, businesswoman, talking about personal things that people hide. You know, it gives you a sense of freedom. And I couldn't print all the words in there, but some of them are in there. And the next thing is, as I started serving so many clients, I suddenly ended up serving those I admired. Meaning, we all have people who we love, people who change our lives. And this quote is, do you know who it is? Anybody has seen Beverly Hills 90210?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. So that's Annie McCord. So she ended up, we did some partnership in there, some work, and gave me a glory of testimonial in there, which you can read. I don't want to really brag about it. But as a result of that, I ended up serving people that I never thought I was worthy of. And the other part is the media. So if you want to sell more books, I shared with some of you, you must get and become media trained and learn the skills and the tools. So when I started really collaborating with media, I used my expertise in human behavior to consistently scan in the media the topics that they're actually talking about, and then create the pitch exactly for the show they were presenting. So when I would approach them, they'll go straight away, listen, come on TV. So I'm here on Sky News. So I've been on Sky News, BBC. I was here with some of your lecture. Somehow the universe puts me in America every time there's an election. So when I was in San Diego, I was on the ABC studios, and they were interviewing me on that. And then the results came out. So that book can take you to media globally. But you must learn the skills to be able to position yourself as an authority, somebody who's credible, somebody who has a message for their audience. Because most people pay a lot of money to go on media. I changed that. So it started with investing a lot, but then as I built my authority and credibility, the equation shifted. So, your voice shape your values. This is one of the chapters in Climb Greater Heights where I go in detail of my research for almost like 30 years now. What is it that makes us make decisions? What is it that makes us stay where we are? What is it that we truly want in life? And how your values are determined by the size of your voice and also your vision. So the deeper your voice, the bigger the vision can happen for you. So, and your word, your wounds, they truly become your authority. So I want you to take a moment right now. What is my biggest wound? Just please write it down, one word. With some of you have spoken, you shared some of your stories, your books. But what is one wound that is so powerful for you that you really go like, oh my God?
I learned at an early age from my father who walked out, don't ever ask me for a damn thing.
Okay.
I spent my entire life not asking for him.
Yes. But I'm going to ask you a question. This is how transformation works. Now, if I said to you, what lesson did you learn? What was that?
If you don't ask for help. I was told when I acknowledged that, I was told by someone, it's not a sign it's not a sign of selflessness to ask for help. It's a sign of confidence.
Okay, so the lesson when your father walks up and tells you, don't ask for me, learn the lesson that it's a sign of confidence for me to reach out. And sometimes, not necessarily our families or our partners can do that.
It took me 73 years.
Thank you for sharing that. Please, big applause. I'm sure I'm one of them, by the way, that I've had father issues and mother issues sometimes, which I had to walk through all of that, through all that healing process. And with Camilla, we have an incredible, and her team around her of authors, we had an incredible evening last night, sharing those stories, by the way. And those stories are the wounds that, if channeled correctly, can really transform the world. So we have your book, Restraint, correct?
Yes.
So, we joked about it because, sometimes I have a filthy mind in my head when I hear authors telling me some of the stories, but as a joke, so we can laugh about it and become real. But when you go to some kind of trauma experience, what a wonderful way to do to heal is to share it in a book. And I have done that in #loneliness, in one of my books and other books. So here's my message to you. The very wound you are almost afraid to show to the world is the very gift the world most desperately waiting to receive. So if you want to write your book, please make that your statement. So boys do create your authentic authority. It's a lived wisdom. They also, boys, define your niche and your message to the world. They also fuel relentless drive required for you to build at scale. And lastly, we have the boy that shaped me the most. Please write it down. What is the boy that shaped you the most, that led you to write the book? And if you already know, please raise your hands. Share one or two.
He was just waiting too long to write a book.
Yes?
Like 40 years ago.
40 years ago.
I was successful, but I never gave up.
Okay, but what is the void? What the void inside of you? The void is something that you want to fulfill.
To actually succeed in doing that, I think I'm passionate to do that.
Okay, so in a sense, they have the courage to write and to bring it out into the world. So, anybody else, please?
Authenticity.
Authenticity. Okay, and how that led you to write the book?
I found out when I was 43 years old that the man I grew up with was not my biological father. And I felt like I was hiding something for years, and so by writing my book, that was authentic. I finally told my story. It's part of my story.
And did that feel liberating?
Absolutely.
There we go. Fulfillment of the void. So, the next part is the most important part in the author journey. And that is reprogramming your mind for the author life you truly want to create. So this is we're talking about when your existing container has outgrown the vision you want to create. And there's no link between the identity of the vision you're creating and the person you are right now. And it all starts in the mind. So strategy fails when your nervous system rejects visibility, when we want to hide, when we are afraid to speak, when you're afraid to communicate, when we're afraid to approach somebody, when we're afraid to ask for help. So we need to reprogram that identity, and then the strategy that you learn sticks. I see so many people invest in so many tools and so much technology, but no results. So first is the identity and the limiting pattern that we identify. Because most people do not really go at the depth required for those patterns to be transformed. Then we're going to interrupting and reframing. Now, how many of you consistently update their phones when it says new software updated? We have no choice. Exactly that. But if we really took that, just we have no choice, and we tell ourselves, I have no choice but to reprogram myself for the life I want, your dialogue with yourself and with others changes. And then installing the new operating system. Most people say, okay, I get it, but how do we install it? So it's not really as simple a process as many people think. Because when people ask me how long do I need to work with you? And I go like, well, how far do you take you? And then they start thinking, okay, because now the brain starts thinking of all the things they want to achieve. And then they realize the question that they ask probably is not valid. Because it's not fulfilling their vision. So let's move on let's prove it with a client story. So many of us in here, we know the effects of COVID. Yes? Some of us lost people during COVID.
Yeah.
And some of us have seen other people in other lives and what was happening globally. So this is Dr. Gabrielli. I'm given permission to share all the stories, but we share the stories for his books as well. So it's fully transparent about what the journey went through that. So from the outside, most people, when they meet doctors, they look at the facade. They never really look at the fears, at their personal life, at the impact on the relationship, at the stress, the frustrations, the system itself, the toxicity working in a system where doctor has no true value. So, but inside, all of those things was happening to him. And one conversation led for us to work now for almost a decade. And his real issue wasn't really lack of knowledge or expertise. It was the strategy and the identity he embodied and all the fears. He could not see beyond the NHS, healthcare, what could be possible for him. So, do you want to see the results? Yes? So, a shift in self-identity truly unlocked a momentum in him, but also built a very unique purpose that at the beginning of our journey felt very distant for him. So this is where he is today, by the way. So if you're looking in here, this works. So Dr. Gabriel now is improving healthcare globally. So we embedded many skills over a decade and positioned him to combine his healthcare knowledge with tech and behavioral science that I taught him, and then I helped him write 2 bestsellers that went global as well, that positioned him as an authority in the healthcare industry and a mission to purposely transform healthcare. Then I helped him build a unique tool that basically assesses healthcare organizations, their AI robotics readiness. So leaders in healthcare industry can make decisions where they are at the moment, where they are globally. Now, most people tell me excuses when I meet them. But if you go through his website or the videos we share globally, he never took a day off. His day offs were working with me privately around the world, creating every system we built in the background. And now, fellow doctors say to him, where did you find the time? So there's been many things we did with Dr. Gabriel. So I'm gonna list some of those in here. By all means, take a picture. So it's not a simple journey to be a global authority in a movement. It requires your 100% commitment. Now, not everybody is called at that level, but you can do it on a local level. You can do it in a federal level. You can do it in specific countries. You can do it about specific things. But some of the things we learned is the most important part is emotions can destroy your vision. Please write it down. So when we are not truly masterful in managing our emotions, it can destroy everything you're trying to build. So also your self-belief, your voice, your values, your beliefs, if your psychology is not reshuffled and trained in a way that can deliver something so powerful, so big, you will be succumbed with fear. And then building his authority, his credibility, his website, his messaging behind that, his pitching, making him ready for media, teaching him sentence by sentence what he needs to communicate to the world. And then incorporating AI technology and leveraging AI for his visibility and delivering global scale sort of purposely transforming healthcare. And recently we worked in Dubai at a conference where I watched every move. So one of the services I do is companies hire me to watch their people in conferences. Because companies invest a lot of money to go to exhibitions, especially healthcare technology, where it costs millions to bring your product into an event. Yet you have people, salespeople, who deliver 0 results. So there's no return on investment. So we did that in Dubai and we created incredible opportunities, business, whatever. So the book didn't change much for him. So writing a book doesn't really change much. It's what you do after you write the book that truly changes you. And that's the ecosystem around him that positioned him at this level. And that's the shift that truly puts you on a path to a global movement. And this isn't rare, by the way. It's replicable. That's why I'm here sharing this insights and knowledge and everything else, so you can use, take away, and apply instantly this into your life. So, what is the 12th step? Briefly, I'm going to share this. Take a picture. You can go through that. You can read it in Climb Greater Heights in more details. But those 12 steps pretty much combine. In any business, I can apply this and I create incredible results. In any business, no matter what your business is. And if you follow this rigorously in your business or look around and you want to create, you will create results. And results get compound. They keep growing the more you do it. So you don't need all 12 today, for sure. I'm going to briefly mention just a few of them. So this is, please take a picture of that. So here on its own, I can deliver a whole day training, by the way. But it's like, I put it for clarity for you guys. First, about the phase 1, how do you productize your book? And phase 2 is how do you create a movement? And those steps, by the way, some of them you may be doing in your business currently, or even in your profession. But when you put them together, and you consistently do that, you truly create a powerful movement. But it requires your 100% commitment, not just words. Everybody got a picture? No. No? Please come and take a picture of your color. So, for instance, just we go through clarifying the core message. Most people don't really have clarity what is that. And that's it. You can use that in your PR, you can use that when you approach media, you can use that when you do books, in social media, all that. The product suite around the book, how do you package that? Some of the biggest names that I have the pleasure to serve, they're actually very good at packaging. And even though there's not much content in there, like really powerful knowledge for people, people buy it. So positioning your branding, launching and distributing, build the community, amplify the message, empower ambassadors around you who share your work. In here we have full of room that all of you can be ambassadors of each other. Create and collect the impact. And then at the end we have sustain and keep evolving. Do not stop. You know, when you brought a baby, some of you are parents in this room, you're not going to stop until your last breath. You're going to care about your children, no matter how they good or bad. So, the 5 pillars of building a desirable profile. Very quickly, I'm going to go visual identity, compelling biography, social proof architecture. When people trust you, they will look at you socially. Platform presence, and then signature story that people want to hear when they want to buy your product or your service. Then make use of the power of publicity and marketing. That's why we're here, by the way. So by all means, invest in all of that. Because the strategy that generates results, it's a compounding effect. It's not one action. So I'm listing some of them here when you have the media, social proof, the content marketing that you're behind. Then when you have speaking circuits, you know, when I started, I did a lot of free speaking. Just to share my message, just to inspire people. And book launches and campaigns. Do not underestimate the power of book launch and campaigns. Now, many companies out there who can help you with all of this. And then, of course, some of you have seen it in here, so I'm very grateful to Ted and the team. We did this interview, and basically, you might think, some people think about investment one way, what do I get out of it? But when it comes to PR marketing, you cannot put a number to that, because one person can see you in that can lead to so many opportunities. So, and I was very fortunate, and I want to say thank you to Ted, who's in the room, that he actually bought copies of the magazine for me directly in London, so I invited him in my home, and we had a very great evening. So the next one is the philanthropy behind that. You must attach your work to something very meaningful globally. So, can you share one of yours? We spoke yesterday?
Yeah.
What was your philanthropy?
What was?
Your philanthropy behind what you wanted to do when I pushed you a bit. We clarified it at the end.
Well, I'm a doctor and I've lived experience from psychosis, and the care I got was very violent and abusive. And I would like to change psychiatry care to be more compassionate, lovable, or to treat people with love instead of.
And the big vision was to influence change in policy making. Big about this. With that, please define your course, integrate, do not separate. It's very powerful in that. Invite your community and measure that and share the impact. Most people don't do that. You know, even in this conference, I've seen very little engagement in social media. You all could do, after every talk, connect with people, connect on LinkedIn, social media, take a picture, share it on board. You create a massive movement. So I'll quickly share the 4 core domains in AI, by the way. The first one I separated so you actually know what they are. Creation tools. Then you have the production tools that can help you with the production of your book. Then we have visibility tools that you can use those AI tools to make your book more visible. And then you have the monetization tools. I'm not going to go in detail, so please take a picture and I'll move on.
Yeah.
But there are many tools out there that truly can help you as an author. Okay, we got it? Next part is the more it's already inside of you. Whether you give that energy or not, it's up to you. But the future-ready author truly learns how to leverage AI and to build a legacy behind their work and integrate the form of philanthropy. Maybe a cause you are close to your heart, maybe a charity or something like that. This is me at the Cardiff International Film Festival, receiving a massive award for that with a couple of celebrity clients. And the authors who change the world are not those with most talent, by the way. So the biggest budget or the best connections. I had no connections when I started this journey 14 years ago. I built all of those connections. So sometimes we make ourselves the excuse that somebody has all the connections. But you need to remind yourself, like I remind myself, those people started with no connections. And if they can do it, I can. I can. Go on. If they can, I can. So, the final invitation, the world is waiting for your movement, for you to leave a powerful legacy behind your work. So, the call would be, for those of you interested to learn more in detail, by all means, grab a copy of Crime Maker Heights. I would always ask nicely people, if you can, please do leave a review to inspire other people. And for those of you who are ready to truly invest, I do look to movement strategy session when we spend 2 hours around exactly who you are and see what you're trying to build with where you are at that level. And this photo is by a very professional photographer with Hollywood people, taken in Dubai while I was working in Dubai, and I'm very grateful to Jordan. And then I would like to say thank you, and a final message. Embrace your journey. Conquer your fears. Spread your wings. Turn what pains you into a service, into a purpose, into fulfillment. And let your words carry you to unseen heights. Thank you. You can scan the form and start with the book, connect it to the social media, and thank you for creating this incredible energy. Thank each other, and stand up. And turn to each other. Give each other a big hug. I love you.